Space, like the final frontier, man. These are the voyages of the hip Starship Enterprise.
Captain, permission to beam Lawrence Ferlinghetti aboard.
Permission like granted. Where are we headed, man?
To, like, the planet Bungo.
They were the lonely voices of dissent in the 1950s, outsiders and proud of it. They were the artists who called themselves Beats.
Hear the sound, hear the sound. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Balachate, Sputnik, H-bomb, explosion, explosion, explosion. Bang!
There's been a revival of interest in the Beat generation. Poetry readings are back, being performed at coffee houses straight out of the 50s. Even MTV now has poetry programs that would make Jack Kerouac proud.
I feel all dead inside, backed up in a dark corner. And I don't know who's hitting me.
Shorty, get me that fight from Quinn. I want money, do you understand? Money, money!
I forbid. Better buy a gun and shoot yourself.
You need money to buy a gun.
It's my first day in school. Some kids got around me, white kids. They said, "Hey, you, is your father a monkey?" I was dumb. I smiled and said no. Well, they wiped that smile right off my face. They beat it off. I had to get beat up a couple of more times before I found out that if you're colored, you stink.
In the 40s, the bomb dropped. The entire planet was threatened biologically. It was suddenly the realization, why are we being intimidated by a bunch of jerks who don't know anything about life? Who are they to tell us what we feel and how we're supposed to behave? And why take all that bullshit?
We're at Columbia University now, and the connection here with the Beats is that this is where Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg met, and the catalytic reaction began that became the Beat movement, and that was one of the forces that helped create and I think shape the movements of the 1960s. Now, Kerouac comes down from your own fair state of Massachusetts, from Lowell. He's a working class guy. From a very early age is interested in writing. He is a great football player at Lowell's, and they offered him a football scholarship. The man who shook up America with the Beat movement basically began as a jock until he hurts his leg. And at that point, he meets Allen Ginsberg from Paterson, New Jersey, father, high school teacher, poet of minor note. And they're not talking too much about football. They were interested in something very corny, trying to find truth and meaning in life.
We weren't trying to make a social revolution particularly. We were just trying to propose our own souls to ourselves.
Were they lovers?
We felt very close to each other, just intuitively, but, you know, without any overt sexual thing, except that I was in love with him. I had a crush on him, I had a crush on everybody.
They found African-American culture fascinating. They related to weird people like William Burroughs.
Jack and I went up to investigate your soul. We both really thought you were real interesting and dignified and weird, but intelligent. Jack said, Bill's the most intelligent man in America.
Did they take a lot of drugs?
Did they take a lot of drugs?
Cannabis, datura, coca.
I had a habit, man. Kept me occupied.
They were searching. They were searching. They knew they weren't satisfied with what was. And that's why we're here at Columbia, trying to inhale the atmosphere that once nurtured people who dared to be different.